Hello, everyone. Peter Dennis here. Today, my guest is Raya Elyse. And Raya is a multifaceted individual. She does multimedia art. She's a musician. She's a channeler. She's a healer. And it's my pleasure to welcome her here today. Raya, welcome.
Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, you're most welcome, and I know you're an interesting person. And maybe to get the ball rolling, if I think our audience would be interested in a little of your background. If you could just tell us a little about maybe where you grew up and things you've done, kind of highlights of your life, please do.
Sure, sure. Yeah. I was always a very highly sensitive child and very in tune with nature and the natural world. And I had many experiences in childhood of what love isn't. So I experienced a high degree of not so pleasant experiences in terms of abuse, but at the same time, utilizing that as an initiatory process. Uh, I did have help from my guides throughout the duration of my life, throughout all turmoil, which helped to see me through, and has also helped me in the healing process to reconcile everything that's happened and to kind of see the hand of the divine in all aspects, even the unpleasant ones or even the ones that cause us the most upheaval and suffering. So, yeah, I have always been artistic and musical. My mother reminds me of when I was 3 that I'd play my father's guitar and kind of sing a light language. So that's pretty cool. I had uh, times where I tried to turn off my gifts, because it was too much and overwhelming. So, at the same time, like when I turned 13, I had huge psychic experiences where I had flashes, and in the flash, I would see a silhouette, and then the silhouette, an event would happen, and then that event would happen exactly like that. So I knew that there was something more to what we consider time and what we consider the movement of time, and I wasn't sure what to do with it exactly. It had taken me a while to find appropriate teachers, but I made my way to the Northern Star College of Mystical Studies in Edmonton, Alberta, which is an actual college run by a woman named Catherine Potter, no joke. And so I studied tarot, mystical studies, crystals. I had previously done my Reiki training. Um, and yeah, uh, I worked while I was taking courses there, I worked at Ascendant Books, the Canada's one of the Canada's biggest metaphysical bookstores. So I got to work with crystals, and that really, really served to activate me as well. Working with the crystals in 2012, um, I would be have to cleanse the space often because, as you can imagine, crystals are amplifiers, so energy could get pretty funky depending on whatever customers came in and whatever duress they were in, because people often seek healing in places like that. So since we couldn't smudge often inside the commercial space, I would resort to using sound bowls and toning to tune the crystals, and I would tune into each crystal because each crystal might need a different type of cleansing. So one time I picked up a Lemurian seed crystal, a big quartz, and I asked it mentally, like, how do you want to be cleansed? And then suddenly I was speaking light language, like, and I was very bewildered, and I asked, what is this? And I heard, this is a Lemurian light activation. And at the time there wasn't a lot of people out like doing light language in public. I think maybe just Jamie Price, who I really revere and honor, but I was reluctant to share it. So I sat on it until around 2018 when I started sharing some on Facebook. And I'm quite a shy and sensitive individual, so it is difficult for me to be in the spotlight. I'd rather avoid it, to be honest. However, um, to move out of the comfort zone great uh, is a great initiation in and of itself, because it's time for people to join the party in terms of accessing different states of consciousness that help to access our true selves, you know, as humanity.
Mm-hmm. We raised so many points, and I could think of all kinds of questions to ask you. But one that our audience might be rather interested in, I certainly am, is what exactly is light language?
Light language is sonic sound, but it can come through as mudras also and movements. It can come through many different ways, and many people hold it in their energy field. I could see it as a healer. Everyone has their own unique soul essence, and therefore their own unique collection of perspectives from wherever their soul has ventured, their oversoul, wherever their soul is across lifetimes and timelines that serve to inform the light language that carries. So everybody carries specific like soul-seated codes that act to reinstate their true self and to activate the true self in others, and may have tons of different varieties of it. There's of course galactic varieties, which is very popular, and there's elemental varieties of Fae and the elemental beings here, the plant devas. I could sing to river light language and rock light language and tree light language. There are also there's connections to tribal lineages where some light language sounds really beautiful and tribal, and reminds me of different cultural songs going back in the histories of Earth from different places that I'm aware of. But basically, when I look at the light language, if I ask to see a visual of it, it's a collection of light and sound and cosmic information and geometries. So it comes through as like all these different geometry patterns. There's been times where I had dreams where I was receiving all these different light codes, and they were for specific themes, although there's no strict definition. And they were flooding through my eyes, like, oh, all these different geometries. And I was like, whoa, like, am I supposed to be remembering these? Or, I kind of got overwhelmed with it. But at the same time, once they're in your energy field, you can utilize them or not. It's just depending on your own personal choice and where you're at in your evolution. But yeah, the geometries serve to organize matter in a way that brings coherence. And that is where I think us humans are heading. We're heading into a more coherent state where we have a more sensory engagement with the outside world. So if we look at the saints and sages over the ages, they've had different awakenings within their physical bodies that move through access points in the meridians referred to as nadis, NADIS, and that awakens different abilities. And that's where I think we're headed. We're headed to a more sensory alive version of ourselves that includes different gifts and abilities. And light language helps with that. Light language heals, it soothes. It's a way to bypass the rational analytical brain and speak directly to the heart or the divine. It speaks to the divine being of light present in all of us, in all beings, animate or inanimate.
Ask you a lot more about it, but I guess we really ought to move along. You're a channeler now. How did that begin, and who are you channeling these days?
As a songwriter, I would be aware that the music that would come to me would be just naturally and effortless. My dad was a transcendental meditator, so he had a bookshelf full of Edgar Cayce and channels, and I knew there was something there for me, and I moved through tons of different layers of self-doubt, self-criticism, all those things, who am I to do this, that sort of thing. But I remember waking up in the middle of the night with a song that was singing to me that the real deal has been coming through loving you. The real deal is with you. So to stop kind of questioning. So I decided to do a dedicated automatic writing practice in my mornings, and that moved through where it was easier for me to channel light language than to channel verbally because there's blocks around that. But then it just moved through where all of a sudden I couldn't write fast enough. I was getting a writer's cramp. And then it was like finally to just move through and let it flow. And since I'm a conscious channel, it could be challenging at times because sometimes I'm like, what are they saying? Or you know what I mean? I might not like how they're describing things or, that sort of thing. But at the same time, when I sit back and I trust and I allow, then I really can catch the gift in it. And I find that especially true for like looking back on older channeled writing that I don't remember writing. Then I can really be like, wow, appreciate that it is a thing. So that's been my process, and here I am.
Yeah. And who are you channeling these days?
I channel an assortment of beings. My main guides for myself are called TEAM. They are an acronym for terrestrials, extra-dimensionals, elementals, angelics, magi, Magdalene, and Melchizedek. And I don't know the exact definitions of all those things, and I don't feel I need to exactly to get fixated on the identity, but basically they are my oversoul. So they're the aspects of myself experiencing different lifetimes and timelines, which are quite an eclectic bunch. I've learned through them that the most contrast in experience provides the most soul growth. So, that explains how the far differentiations of each aspect of them. Yeah.
And I understand from an earlier conversation that the Mantis people are maybe rather dominant in that group.
Yes, yes, right now especially. They're pretty hilarious. And as you've noticed, the main spokesperson of that collective is male Mantis. I refer to him as Clemens, and he came to me in a shamanic journey back in 2018 in tarot class. And he came looking bipedal and kind of humanoid, and he came in wearing a tweed suit to not scare me and to show that he was here for business. And he's helped me in energy medicine, where he kind of sits alongside me, and I could see him in my mind's eye, and he's helping to rewrite the genetic code. So he's helping to clarify any epigenetics that might have non-beneficial attributes to them and to bring in beneficial attributes into our genetics. So they are masters at genetics and at science, which really isn't my forte. And they have a very distinct, as I'm sure you will all see, and as you've already seen, Peter, they have a very distinct way of speaking that I'm learning to be more comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah, what Raya is referring to is that I interviewed one of the Mantis beings just recently, and that'll show up soon, I guess, in my newsletter. Anyway, would you like to bring them in? And
Sure.
I can have a little chat with them, and we'll see where this goes.
Sure. Happy to. Greetings and effervescent blessings, dears. We are here and we are pleased to join with you in this reality. So happy to get to have this conversation again, Peter. We greet you with the light of 1,000 suns.
Well, thank you very much for that greeting and for being here. Now, just to clarify exactly who it is that I'm speaking with, we know of the overseers, we know of the team, we know of the Mantis. Just clarify a little, if you would, please, who you are.
We are primarily comprised of Mantis beings who are older than this version of the galaxy and whose entry point has been known to be within the Scorpio constellation, the Antares portal. Yes, we have attributed our contribution to help to format this version of reality, to create different aspects for you to enjoy within it. And we have come forward to experience our creation as a being within it, and as well as to assist in moving along the evolution of consciousness that is currently taking place in this version of reality. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and you anticipated probably three more. Anyway, presumably there is, well, I'm guessing that there may be a spokesperson for your group who is actually interacting with me now. Would that be Clement by any chance?
Indeed, it
Good.
is it is uncomfortable to speak as an individual, as our expression is in a hive mind collective. However, if you were to individuate, indeed, Clement is the main being here with you now.
Well, thank you for that. And if I understand it correctly, then you're speaking really on behalf of the group. And it's
Indeed,
interesting, this idea of the hive mind. How large is your collective?
it is difficult to quantify.
Because you're in different dimensions at the same time, and it's
Indeed,
hard to know. Yeah, okay.
there are many, many variations of Mantis beings and iterations that span the galaxy that work with many different star races and have many different roles to experience life, to assist within creation. And to quantify that would be difficult and, from our perspective, unnecessary.
Yes, I can understand it when you put it that way. I guess it does tell me, however, that I'm not dealing with a group of 6 or 7 individuals who are allowing Clement to hold the microphone, so to speak, that there are a vast number of you spread out in many dimensions, locations, whatever.
Indeed, it would be in the thousands of, or not quite around the hundreds of thousands, but it would be in the tens of thousands.
Well,
Yes.
that's interesting that you can sort of instantaneously gather the opinions or responses of that number of individuals and sort of speak the consensus so quickly.
Yes.
Was the human mind. Um, you touched upon a little bit what your involvement is with humans. Can you elaborate on that somewhat? Yeah, what are you doing here?
Indeed, you are on the precipice of great change, as you know. You are experiencing the closure of many great cycles, as we spoke about in our last meeting.
Mm,
Indeed, some could call this the end of the Kali Yuga, the precession of the equinox, however you want to label it or name it or consolidate it. There are many different cycles ending and a new cycle beginning. And as this emergent newness is upon you, we are here to assist with the integration of the old lessons so that you can move forward as your best selves, as your best version of your species, which would be to reclaim the true identity of each of you, which indeed coincides with the human collective consciousness. Yes. So we are here to assist you with the physical integration, with what we call physical discernment. It is a means of utilizing your body's oracular wisdom to know what type of information you are receiving and if that lands as truth or not, and to honor yourselves in each step of the process. As indeed, this is wavy gravy times where there will be much more influx of information coming towards you, which can serve to overwhelm you, but we hope to simplify the process, to cut through the noise and clamor and bring in coherence so that you ultimately trust yourselves. So you ultimately know what to believe or disbelieve or what to keep to the wayside and not assign meaning to until the bigger picture comes into being.
you raise a couple of points that I think directly result from what you are here to do. One, this seems to us to be an age of disinformation, misinformation, supporting what you were saying. As well, our physical bodies are taking a bit of a hit these days. The light workers and the star seeds especially seem to be jolted. We're not a little off balance, feel dizzy, our digestive systems are a little messed up. And I understand that's our bodies reacting to some of the new energies. But would you give us, please, your take on what's going on here? First in our bodies, and then this idea of assimilating and discerning truth.
Yes. So we will preface this by saying this is an oversimplification and that each individual responds to frequencies differently, as each individual is an individual frequency. Yes. Each soul signature is different and therefore corresponds like a chemical reaction to each frequency differently. So there are many varying factors within the health of each individual, and that is part of why your health systems currently, what could be referred to as your mainstream health systems, are failing because they do not address the individual. They address collective ideas of experiments that have been done that have been geared towards a certain aspect of the group of people, the collective, not all of them. So there are many different variations of how each person reacts to these different times, to these different energies. There are a varying amount of energies, as likely mentioned by other channels, the varying Schumann resonances, as indeed Mama Gaia is coming with you in the process of physical ascension. There are the solar plasmic light codes from Helios, which are a representation of the human collective consciousness, which is eager to awaken, which is eager to retain vitality and clarity, coherence, and awareness. There are also many cosmic energies, some refer to as the photonic band of light, which we see coming in very strongly at the beginning and the end of every major cycle. It is not unlike a line in chalk, where each particle is a photonic beam that is assisting you with the integration of the lessons of the prior chapters, the prior teachings. So with this, all these influxes, you also have many different environmental issues in terms of what could be considered poisons input into the collective field, as well as heavy metals and all those types of not so fun things. But you are juggling much. Your technology is not congruent with natural harmonies and needs to evolve along with you in order to be mutually beneficial. So that is another thing to consider, the electromagnetic frequencies. So many of you are canaries in the coal mine, where you are showing where there are vast imbalances in the ways that you are living, and that serves to make human consciousness aware so that great changes can be made, so that the evolution can happen. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And it raises the question in my mind that as humans are, human bodies are reacting to these new energies with some of these symptoms I described earlier, would it be fair to say that Gaia is reacting to some of these new energies by manifesting or through the manifestation of, say, earthquakes and some of the disruption that's going on the planet? That seems to be blamed on fossil fuels mostly, but I have a feeling it's Gaia kind of shaking herself a little. Yeah, expand on that if you would, please.
This could potentially be hours long, so we will do our best to simplify. There are many contributing factors, again, within the many different fluctuations upon Gaia. Indeed, she is attempting to reconcile places of imbalance upon her through the release of various energies, whether that is flooding or volcanic or fire, or however it is expressed. The energy is bursting forward and she is releasing it. It is a healing process. She is coming into balance. So we would suggest anyone who seeks to help areas that are experiencing this type of discord, for people to send their energy, their love, their prayers to the heart of Gaia, so Gaia can distribute it accordingly as to to send more energy to the place and location of the experiencing the overflow of energy may be overwhelming. But we digress. There are many different factors at play, and there are many different beings with different agendas and concepts of how they wish this next new chapter to move forward. And so they are in conflict with each other, the conflicting energies. So the transcendence of conflict is not to add to the conflict. It is to see the gift within the conflict, and that to allow a permittance within all variances of frequency expression as part of the all that is. And that may require a trust as we, as humans, you as humans, may have difficulty seeing the hand of God within the adversary. However, know that these beings too are in evolutionary processes. So when you spoke of what could be considered fossil fuel or climate change, that is not the truth of the matter, as every planet in your solar system is experiencing an influx of the photonic light, which is serving to drastically change the temperatures and conditions upon each planet. That is not anything that is specific to Earth alone. It is certainly not just the hands of pollution or fossil fuels or whatever you call it. And that is not to say that humans do not need to live in harmony with Gaia and honor her through every expression of being a living aspect upon her, as indeed you are her in human form. Mm-hmm. So to realize that would be to try to live as harmlessly as possible, would be to live as harmlessly as possible.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. You're right. We could go on for hours here, but I'm wondering from your perspective, would there be a number one thing that humans could do for themselves, by themselves, to advance their evolution?
We would say we changed the word do to the word be. And this has been said by many, many across all time and space. The beingness is a quality where there is access to the true divine self, to your eternal self, to your infinite nature. Yes. And that comes with a cessation of attempting to do, to try, to be, to figure out, to analyze, to ask questions such as how. Those types of things keep you in the analytical mode of the mind, which is not the area where resolutions are accessed. So to soften and to surrender that you may not know the hows or the whys or how things will work or how things will be figured out, but to return to knowing that it is being worked out and it is being reconciled. It is being resolved, all of you. Everything is always in perpetual motion. So with the momentum, sometimes it feels to you humans as you are moving in circles, but from our perspective, you are spiraling upwards. You are every gradation of your experience and your awareness within your experience and your return to honoring the self in each now moment. The return to what could be referred to as your divine child aspect, which sees the eyes through reverence, curiosity, wonder, awe, playfulness, spontaneity. That is more of the truth of who you are. And when you return to that true self and allow that to be the operating system through which you engage with the world, you bring forth the best in others as you call forth their true divine nature as well. You invite them to the party. And as you are experiencing just by the understanding of this, the true self emanates, radiates beautiful qualities of light, which serve to invite the molecules of creation to rearrange themselves accordingly, to assist you with being in what could be considered the creative flow state. where you are always at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing for your highest good, where it is effortless to be of service, to honor the truth of what you came here to do. And in time, memories come alongside with that, as well as the understandings of these things. But the leap into the unknown is the return to the true self. It has
Mm.
only been unknown as the muscles by which you experience the true self have been atrophied over time, and with conditioning and with uh, modern schooling techniques and all those things. So that is what we hope to activate within you.
Hmm. That's pretty clear. And I have an eye on the clock here. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Maybe something I haven't asked that you think humanity would benefit from hearing?
Indeed, if things are too complicated and they are causing you to spin out of sorts, pause and take a breath and tell your body to relax, invite it to relax, and invite yourself to step into observer consciousness. Observer consciousness is akin to angelic awareness and presence, and that in itself is a healing force.
Hmm.
That in itself helps to give you some distance and perspective that allows you to understand the full nature of whatever you're working with. Presence is akin to heart-centeredness and is also akin to what could be referred to as the rest and digest aspect of the nervous system, where your body's able to heal and come into balance, where it is able to run all the different energies that are coming at it in a way that is natural and effortless, as well as the way to emanate rather than absorb all these energies. Yes.
Hmm.
And by doing so, set the field, set the stage for your greatness to come forth and to come forward, as this is fertile ground where you are now, humanity. And you've done so much work to get here. So applaud yourselves. You may not understand all of it, and you don't have to. And trust that at some stage of the game, you will receive all that understanding. But it is not up to you to preemptively decide how things are if you are only getting pieces of information that don't all fit together yet. We
Hmm.
ask patience in the process, as indeed the little bits of information coming in will begin to assemble and form a greater picture, not unlike the parable of the intuitives each touching a side of the elephant. Yes, it is best not to decide prematurely what they are feeling, but rather wait for the bigger picture to come together, and it will. How you care for yourselves in each now moment sets the stage, is the foundation upon which the new world is birthed, and it is birthed through each of you.
Thank you for that and for the elephant analogy. This has been a pleasure and I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm sure our audience is going to enjoy this.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Peter Dennis.
Many blessings to you.
Bless.
Ray, you just come on back. You know, you are very quick in and out. How are you feeling? You look a little dazed.
I'm a bit spacey. It's kind of like waking up where I have bits of the dream, and then it kind of starts to fade. So I can get bits of it. And oftentimes what I feel from them is like um, hilariousness, where they kind of see a lot of it with a great sense of humor, which helps me not take everything so seriously, which is really a gift to me.
Yeah, they do present it with good humor and great analogies and clarity. Uh, you know, they do get it out very quickly, and I think we have to replay this. That's part of the benefits of video, I guess. We can go back and hear it again. And I think, you know, I certainly suggest to the audience that you consider doing that because there's a lot of depth to this stuff, and it warrants listening to just more than once. Rhea, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I am available from the email address infiniteheartnature@gmail.com. That is going to be my website address soon, but it's in the works. I'm also on Facebook as Raya Elyse is my personal page. And yeah, my business page is under construction.
Okay.
But yeah, infiniteheartnature@gmail.com is the best place to reach me to inquire about sessions. I do channeling sessions, energy medicine sessions, and I'm soon to be incorporating light-coded art. So there's visual transmissions in the works, as well as many other fun things. Yay.
Excellent. I'll put that at the end of this video on a screen as I explain my talents as a video editor are pretty limited, but I think I can get that much. Raya, this has been a real pleasure. You know, I don't know about everybody, but I get a lot of kick out of sort of intellectual pursuit and fun, you know, and these guys and yourself are really up for that. And it's not only fun, but, you know, very serious fun. Yeah, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you so much. This has been a blast for me too.
Okay, well, bye for now, and we'll be in touch, I know.